So we found up here that what was f of negative 4? 2. And what is f of negative 1? Negative 4. So how can I look at that and know that it's crossing the x-axis there?
Function?
Yes, but if I didn't have the picture of the function, how do I know that if I was told it's a parabola and I was given this point and this point, how do I know that it has to cross the x-axis somewhere there?
Oh, because one's on a positive y and one's on a...
That's exactly right. And we do that a lot in calculus, so that's why I'm kind of introducing it here so that when we see it later. But yeah, because this one is positive and this one is negative. So if you have a graph that's going from a positive y to a negative y, if it's continuous, it has to cross the x-axis in there somewhere. So that's what's going on, and that's how we know, that's how we can guarantee it. Well, it's not written very eloquently, but that's why. Because I'm going from positive to negative, or if vice versa, if I was going from negative to positive, I would know it had to cross the x-axis. Okay, so looking at the picture, we can't figure out exactly what the zeros are. But we can figure out what two x's they're in between. So looking at the picture, the zeros are between x equals what and what? Give me 1, 0.
Negative 4, negative 5.
Yep. You can just look up here and see. Notice between negative 4 and negative 5, there, it crosses the x-axis. Where's the other one? Negative 1 and negative 2. Very good. That's what I was asking us about there. Now we're going to take the equation, the f of x, and instead of plugging in a value for x, we're going to set it equal to some number. So we're going to set f of x equal to 0, and what is that going to represent graphically? When f of x equals 0, what is that on this graph? Yes. I'll say x, the, that is a funny d. Good. At the x-intercepts. So I know at the x-intercepts, that's when y, f of x is the same thing as y, that's when y is 0. And if I had to look at it and just kind of guess, what would you say x is approximately?
Negative 4.5.
Okay. Somebody else tell me the other one. Just a guess.
Negative 1.7.
Okay. 7.5. I like it. Those are good guesses. And notice I put those little squigglies. What do those mean? Approximately. Man, we're kind of, getting an approximation. It's not exact. If I took the equation and set it equal to negative 4, what are we solving for then? This is telling us when y, f of x, remember, is the same thing as y. So this is saying if I set y equal to negative 4 and I solved for x, that's given us the x, like that's given us the ordered pair. So I don't think I'm asking that in a very good way. The results of f of x equals -4 represent the x values when y equals -4. So look over here. When y is -4, what's x? Look at the graph. -3. When y is -4. Here's y is -4. -1 and? Yeah. So there's more than one of those. So if you plug in x and you put it in the equation, you're getting out a y. If you set f of x equal to a number and you solve the equation, you're getting out an x. So now we're going to solve these equations, and we're going to find the exact values without looking at the graph. So we're going to start by finding the zeros, which are the same thing as the x-intercepts. F of x equals 0. So the equation was for f of x, -2 times x plus 3 squared plus 4, and then we set it equal to 0. How do we solve this? This is a pretty upper level equation. How do we solve that?
First, subtract 4.
Yep, subtract the 4. And I'm going to write down each step for now. Probably won't later as we get into it more. Okay. Divide by -2. Good. How do you get rid of a squared? Square root. Calculator might be handy here, but or we can just leave it as the square root of 2. I don't care. What am I forgetting? Yeah, I'm still going to do the 3. You're absolutely right. What else? I'm going to round it here to 1.414. Leaving it as the square root of 2 is what I would normally do, but just so you can get the number sense. But what else? There's something I'm forgetting. When you take the square root of something, you put the square root in the problem. What do you have to do? Plus or minus. Very good, Zella. You have to put a plus or minus in the problem. Anytime you put a square root in the problem. So now when I subtract the 3, I'm going to get 2 answers. Those 2 answers are going to be positive 1.414 minus 3 and negative 1.414 minus 3, which are approximately, I'm rounding, 1.586 and negative 4.414. Well, I wrote it down, 414. And that's, if you look at our estimates, that's fairly close to what our estimates were.